Good morning, and thank you for joining me. The sun is doing some fun rainbow effects, which actually fits right into what I jumped on here to talk about. I have been finding myself feeling like the Grinch here the last couple of weeks, going, oh, the noise, 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 noise. And I'm being gently reminded that, yeah, the noise is a problem. The noise is a problem. We are very, very sensitive, energetic beings, and noise keeps us from aligning. And I've gotten so many reminders of that over the last couple of weeks, how differently I feel when it's quiet, when I don't turn on any background noise. We run from the quiet because the quiet often causes us to be able to hear the internal noise. And for those of us who are avoiding that internal noise, the loud outside of us is a comfort. Unfortunately, that comfort comes at a very heavy price. And so I want to encourage you to slow down. Turn the TV off, turn the radio off, turn everything off, put the phone down, just let it be quiet. And notice that even when it's quiet, it's not quiet. We live in a world that there is just constant background noise. And if that were natural background noise or soothing noise, that would be wonderful. Unfortunately, it's not the birds singing or the crickets chirping. It's some sort of metal grinding or something very unnatural that oftentimes trigger us into a state of vibration that is not healthy or helpful. What I am learning right now is that the most important thing I can do is to calm the mind. Society that we live in is constantly triggering the mind, and God forbid you are already dealing with anxiety or ADHD or any variety of mental health issue that might make you extra sensitive to this. Be mindful, be quiet, be still. Find things that bring peace to your mind, peace to your body. Notice how unrelaxed you are and begin to loosen the jaw and soften the forehead and roll your neck and shrug your shoulders and just let go of some of the tension. We cannot vibrate in a healthy space when we are being bombarded constantly by things that trigger stress. And if you think about it, from the moment we wake up until the moment we go to bed, and oftentimes, depending on your situation, even when you're sleeping, there is no quiet, there is no rest for that part of you that just needs silence, that just needs peace. For those of us, and this happens for me as much as I love the quiet, when we are not in a good headspace, when we are not processing things, when we're not letting things bubble up, when we're not willing to see how we may be sabotaging ourselves, we will not be comfortable in the quiet. We will actually want to climb out of our own skin to get away from ourselves. And I remember the very, very first time that I ever really got quiet enough to hear what was going on internally. And this was during a time when I was seeing a lot of clients, doing a lot of energy work, a lot of good things were going on. And I remember running a group and telling them that, for the very first time, I really, really was able to delve into that place where it was quiet enough for me to hear my own internal sounds. And everyone was expecting for me to say, oh, it was so beautiful, it was so quiet and serene and wonderful. And what I said to them is, it reminded me of Dante's Inferno. It was just so much suffering. And I'd been ignoring it my whole life. Just been stuffing it all down in there and saying, no, you shouldn't feel that way, or no, you shouldn't respond to that. No, we are not dealing with that right now. There's no time. And in that way, I had been abandoning these parts of me. And these parts of me were there. They weren't going anywhere. They were suffering greatly. It was an internal hell. Here I am, almost 15 years later, and I am still searching in the corners and crevices and looking for those lost and broken parts of myself. Oh, and it's a lot. It takes the air from my lungs to just talk about it. But you know what? I've come so far, and there are so many parts of me that are now able to be themselves. They're no longer screaming in pain. They're no longer feeling lost or abandoned. And it's taken work, and it's taken stillness. It's taken connecting with nature and listening to myself and meeting my own needs and honoring myself and my needs, and learning the difference between helping other people and giving myself away and ignoring myself or avoiding myself and calling it help. You're just being so present in the moment, noticing, what am I paying attention to? And what am I ignoring? And how is this serving? And how is this causing suffering? And eventually you get to a place where you're able to realize that most of what you're doing is no longer causing you or anyone else to suffer. And that is when you start really seeing things happen quickly. That first part, it can be heavy. What I know is that here in the last 5 years, I have seen people do what it took me 15, 20, 30 years. I have seen them do in 10, 5, 2. And it's because we're all waking up and we're helping each other get where we're going, and we're no longer working against ourselves and each other, and we're really finding a space to grow and to take accountability and to fully embody and to express ourselves in new and different ways. Every day is a challenge, but every day is also an opportunity to invest in your experience. What are the excuses? What are the things that we're avoiding? What are the things that we could do that are really easy that we're just not doing just because we forget? There's not a habit. And how can we start to practice those things in a way that they become a habit? And because they're habit, we no longer struggle with these other things. It's time to stop making excuses, to figure out what it is that we can do and do it. Doesn't have to be life-changing. Doesn't have to be the be-all, end-all answer. But it has to create movement from the stagnance. It has to embrace the change that is always happening. It has to align with who we are as loving, connected beings. How can we honor ourselves? How can we learn to create the stillness and space that not only heals, but can bring us to a place of clarity where joy and peace and a new way of living can really spring forth? Just a little food for thought. Hopefully, it'll plant some seeds for all of us. Have a great day. Namaste.